I'm never trying to make someone like me. I'm just trying to let them know that it's there, you know? So when I'm marketing my music, it really isn't saying this is the best thing ever, bigging myself up. I just want people to see that it's there, and then if they like it, that's cool. Check 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2. This morning, I'm going to talk to Music Ally about what happened with the Obey Robots album in the charts. I am always pretty nervous about doing any kind of interview because I haven't done them that much, because I like making my own stuff where I can edit it. It's a very real thing. Hello, thank you for having me. My name's Laura Kidd. I'm a music producer, solo artist, video maker, general internet person. I started out with a solo project called She Makes War, and I released 4 albums under that name. And then I decided I hated my name, so I changed it to Penfriend. So I've released 1 album under the name Penfriend. The latest album I've released is under the name Obey Robots because it's a collaboration with another artist, Rat from Ned's Atomic Dustbin. I prefer the term independent, and I always have, but that's because people used to call people unsigned, and I thought that doesn't make sense to me because I haven't tried to get signed. So I always saw that as sounding like a lack of something. I've started using DIY a little bit more recently because people understand what that is now. When I started making albums, they seemed to like to denigrate what I was doing by saying it was self-released or that it was DIY. And now I think it's been taken to be a positive thing. How comprehensive it is that I do literally everything, which I wouldn't recommend to anyone. But the reason that I've done that in the first place is necessity. I never wanted to hang around and wait for someone to say it was okay for me to put albums out, essentially. Before I started releasing my own music, I worked as a session musician. I toured the world with various artists, and I saw how that stuff worked, and I didn't really like it. I've also heard a lot of anti-success stories in that people doing very well in the music industry and having a miserable life for various reasons. So I was turned off that kind of thing very early on. I only ever wanted to build a sustainable practice, a sustainable career for myself. I've always done things very sustainably, not spent lots of money on making the records in the first place, and turning to the audience rather than turning to the industry to get that support to put things out. So it's always been very fan-focused, and I'm now a fully fan-funded artist. Okay, so first of all, the sounding too good to be true, I totally get that, because there's a lot of lying going on in the music business. I genuinely am fully fan-funded. I have it's my own version of a Patreon system. So I've been full-time doing this for the past 4 years now, which is incredible. I don't take that for granted for a second. It's amazing. So that's the first part of it. The second part of it is that targeting the charts is about sort of validating the project. It's about gathering people around a movement towards something. And it's about selling some records. And I have no shame in trying to sell the music that I make. As I say, all I'm ever trying to do is put it in front of people to give them the option to listen and to support. And so I make it very clear to people, and I did that through this campaign, that when they buy something from us, the money comes directly to us. It's sold through my Shopify shop. It comes to me. It pays for the things to be made. It's terrifying putting up $8,000. I think it was $8,500 to print vinyl. You know, and going, oh, should we print 1,500 or should we print 2,000? Don't know. Oh, because we don't want it sitting around in our houses. We can't afford to not make the money back. This time it was a lot less frightening because I have a collaborator and he has a proper job and he has some savings. So we were able to print all the merch that we needed, and he's going to get paid back from that now because it's gone well. So the movement is not around buy my thing because I want to be in the charts. The movement is around, we made this music with no consideration for being popular or trying to hit trends or anything. I never do that. I only make the music that comes out of my mind and my experiences and everything. And after that, I think about how I can get that to people and how I can tell the story of that. And so this whole thing for this latest album and the one before, which went to 24 in the charts, so this isn't a one-off, has been all about explaining what the songs are about, how they connect to us as a community. My role in this community, whatever the community is making this music for people. They've shown me that it has some value to them because they've been buying it for the last 13 years. They feel there's value there. They will pay for that thing because they know that I need the money to live on and make more stuff that they think is valuable. And then it just goes around in a circle like that. But I'm not positioning myself as being more important than them or more shiny than them or anything. I just feel that we're all in it together. And in terms of DIY, I mean, I don't feel like I'm part of a DIY community of musicians. I work very much on my own. I'm not trying not to be part of a community, but it just hasn't sort of happened that way for me. My community is the other people who are the fans of the music. And I just think that this is the 6th album release I've done. It's always an opportunity to come together with the people who already like my music and find new people, obviously. And we can have that moment together, because music is about creating spaces. A song is about creating a space to feel your feelings. And I think that an album release and the sort of the weeks leading up to it and just after it, it's just a sort of like a coming together of like, we all feel this way. And certainly this latest album has really been hitting home for people in that sense. So yes, I was trying to sell records, of course, and the charts show how many I sold. That's what that shows. But I think what it tells people who are like me, who are making music on their own, and people who like the music that I make, that's not on a billboard, it's not on TV, it just tells them that they're right, you know, in what they like for that moment. The tools I used, so the primary tool I would say that's given me a full-time job doing this is my mailing list. It's not sexy, but it's absolutely the one thing that I don't understand when someone tells me they don't have one. It blows my mind. I've been building it up since 2009 through Bandcamp, through clipboard at gigs, and through my website and stuff, obviously. I've been emailing those people pretty much every month that whole time. And then in the lead up to this record, I started to go a little more regularly, and then it went to weekly just in maybe the 6 weeks or the 4 weeks beforehand. What's changed for me in the last 2 years, probably, maybe 2.5 years using the mailing list, is just a much more story-driven approach. Saying album out now is not interesting. Some people will still want to get your album out now, of course, but there's a lot more going on behind album out now that you could be sharing with people. So that's what I've started to really work on. And when I say work on, I mean I read storytelling books, I read copywriting books, I practice. I've made a real effort to do those things because, in my opinion, I can make the best song in the whole universe, but if I can't write a subject title for an email that anyone's going to open, I can't sell that song. Yes, my job is to make the music, and the music is, I do think the music is most important, but it's equally as important to find the people who will benefit from those songs or will find value from those songs in the way that I've described. This is genuinely how I think about it. I'm a community artist. I make the songs. If I don't bring the songs to the community, then I'm missing out on the thing that's the most important thing, which is sharing the songs. So I don't have any problem with learning how to write things better, learning how to do a better email, learning how to more efficiently use a social media platform so people will actually see stuff. So to answer your question a little bit more succinctly, email list, number one. Number two is Facebook ads, but that sort of ties in with video. So video's always been a big thing for me. I've been making videos and editing them for 20 years now, something like that. I used to do that for my work. So Facebook ads will only work if, one, you know how to do them. I don't, but my husband taught himself over lockdown so that he could help me out. He's actually managed to go and get a really great job at a label because of his skills that he taught himself over lockdown to help me. But those ads only work, one, if someone knows how to do the audiences for you properly, and two, the actual content of the ad is something that's going to work. So I did a lot of very direct, eye contact to camera, storytelling type adverts, video adverts on Facebook for my last album and for this one. And that was game changing. I've had my reservations about that kind of stuff in the past, definitely. Just like, this kind of marketing, where a platform shows stuff to people because they know the kinds of things they like. I felt a bit uncomfortable about that a few years ago. And then, because it is opt-in now, you can opt out of that online. And because I've benefited so much from stuff like popping up in my feeds that I actually really like, I just think that stuff is there. We can use it for good. I feel I'm using it for good because the thing I'm making is something I really believe in. I'm not trying to sell someone something made of plastic that's going to break. I'm selling them a song I really deeply care about enough to put my own money into recording it, to put all of my time into sharing it. So I think it's worth considering the moral side of all of these things, but that's how I've sort of made my peace with that. And it's incredible to be able to just know that there are limitless numbers of people who will love what you do, because they're the kinds of people who already love, they're like the kinds of people who already love what you do, if you see what I mean. That's an incredible thing, because before I knew that was even possible, it was very limited to, I'm going to pay this PR company thousands of pounds that I can't spare, because I don't have rich parents. I don't have anyone funding things. I've done it through working. You know, it's a scary amount of money to spend crossing your fingers, hoping someone's going to pick you. And inevitably they didn't pick me. And to kind of go back to your thing about earlier on about the sort of why I'm DIY, I never got picked. I was last picked at school for PE. I don't get picked. I have to pick myself. I have to make my own doors. I have to do all of this myself. It's how I feel. So the Facebook ads was, I'd say, second in that, and then video. So I have put a lot of time and energy into building up my YouTube channel over the last year and a half, because again, I see limitless opportunity with YouTube. I see limitless opportunity with Facebook ads, and I see limitless opportunity with TikTok, but I'm still trying to sort of suss out what my little niche on TikTok could be. But I think anything like that is just an incredible thing for any artist to pursue. I'm a grafter as well, right? I feel like if I can put time into something, if I can sow seeds, then at some point in the future, they're going to grow into something. We convince ourselves of a number of things to try and keep going, right? So one of my things is, if I keep turning up, stuff will happen. I used to have this little saying, do stuff and stuff happens. It's not very poetic, but it's true. I think it's true. It's what keeps me going. As I say, like for me, the sharing of the music is as important as the making of the music. And if I can do that through different things that I also enjoy, like making videos, then that's something I'm very happy to do. I'll use the C word. I reluctantly use the content creator phrase. If you want to be a content creator and you're not a musician, I almost think that's easier, because you can just pick a subject that people want to hear about and you can talk about that and you can figure that stuff out, try and get a big channel. It's a lot harder when you actually have something already, which is the thing you do, which is the music. And then you're trying to go, but also watch these videos, but also after you've watched the video, please buy my music. So the way I view it is, it's a way for new people to come across me at random, because it's the second biggest search engine in the world. And it's got limitless opportunity, like I said, for people to find you. But also it's about, I have this, I'm writing to my email list, and I'd like to share different things with them. So it gives me different things to share with the people who already like me, to stay top of mind, to explain stuff about songs, to have more of a connection with people. Because there are different kinds of things that a YouTube channel can give to people who are watching: entertainment, information, connection. I think for me, my stuff is mostly about connection. And then a couple of years ago, I was thinking about what else can I offer to the world than just these songs I've created. And I figured that what I can do is I can show them that I'm just a normal person who's figuring stuff out herself. And no one ever gave me that much help. And I don't have a music degree, and I don't have, training in anything. And I taught myself how to produce and all that. And I just think showing how to be more creative, and encouraging people, if they want to be creative, to be more creative in their lives, then that's a valuable thing to give, as well as the songs. And I did that through my podcast series, where I interviewed all sorts of different artists. It was like mind-blowing, the people I got to speak to. And then I realised that wasn't direct enough, really. It was sort of like insinuated, and you could do this too, kind of thing. And I was like, I just want to do videos now, because also, again, it's easier to find a video than it is to find a podcast if someone's like typing stuff into Google. And I really love making them, and I think that it could grow really big, but if it doesn't, it's fine, because it's something for me and my community to share amongst ourselves anyway. I'd rather not be the lightning rod. I'd rather be like on the same level. If I'm standing inside a crowd of people, and we're all just standing there together. That's what I used to do at my gigs, actually. I have a song called Delete where I would go into the audience with a megaphone and there'd be vocal loops going on, round and round as I was singing in a megaphone, and I'd stand amongst people and look them in the eye. And that's quite terrifying, even though I know they're friendly. They've come to see me play. But the feeling of that is incredible. And everyone else got to feel that too, like, oh, we're just together. That's what I feel like. I've never wanted to be the person who's on this big tall stage being applauded all the time just for, doing something quite basic like singing a song. But then I don't want to downplay what those songs mean to people either. I'm not interested in, being the best one or anything. Because I'm so used to doing it like this, I had to have a moment with myself a few months ago where I was thinking, okay, but would I like to play my songs on the TV? And I was like, well, yeah, of course I would. Would I like to, tour again and play with people who are huge? Yes, of course I would. It's just that I see the value in what I'm doing and I feel like I'm successful because I get to do it every day. Of course, there are different things I could do, but I don't want to go, because I'm not on TV, I'm unsuccessful. So it's about sort of defining what success is, and that can translate to huge, amazing opportunities, or it can just be every day I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. So that feels really good. The reality is, if you don't share, or if someone doesn't share your music for you, people aren't going to hear it. We can't just stick stuff up on streaming or stick stuff up on Bandcamp, cross our fingers and think we're going to make all the money we need to live on and then, make more stuff. It doesn't work that way. I saw some ridiculous argument on Twitter recently. Surprise, surprise, of someone saying, well, you wouldn't see Bob Dylan asking for likes, comments and subscribes. And I was like, pretty sure millions of dollars went into the marketing of that artist, as has happened for most of the artists you will have heard of. Like millions, I'm not kidding, millions. I don't have millions, so my option is to use the amazing tools to reach people organically and through ads. So I'm going to do that, and I don't have a problem with that. I do this full time, so yes, it's easier for me in some ways, harder in others because I'm doing it full time, so I have to make more money, don't I, to be able to do the things. I just think that, of course, we should be taking care of our health and our mental health. That's number one. I think this pressure that people feel is just self-imposed. No one's really making you do anything. I think you could do really great things sending an email out every month. You don't have to also do a daily TikTok. You don't have to do a weekly YouTube video. I get the impression that people are spending their time on things that are not going to change anything. So tweeting a lot, doing a lot of Instagram posts, doing a lot of things where people are barely going to see it, that's a waste of time compared to setting up an email list and emailing people. And then you can dial back all the stuff you feel you have to do because you see so much stuff going online every day. I don't think your career is going to be affected seriously if you don't go on Instagram. Certainly, being a passive consumer of other people's content is not going to do anything for your career. If you're enjoying it for your own personal benefit and like inspiration, that's fine. But spending too much time consuming other people's stuff, cut that stuff out, and then you'll have more time to, one, rest, and two, be strategic about using the internet for your career. And again, there's a separation between strategically using the internet's tools for your career and just having a nice time on the internet hanging out with your mates. That's also fine, but just don't confuse the two. I've done it myself. I feel like I'm very busy and important if I have all the social media tabs open and I'm seeing who's tweeting this and that. All that's doing is making me have no focus in my day. And I actually have very severe blocks on social media. On my computer, I use an app called Freedom, which is really great. So I can't go on it apart from like half an hour at lunchtime and an hour and a half later on in the day. And you'll notice I didn't mention social media actually when you were talking about the tools I used to sell this record. I did find Twitter to be annoyingly useful this time because I really would love to leave, but it was actually really, really good this time. But like I say, I try to be more strategic with my time on those platforms because they're designed to keep us stuck to them all day. Those companies make a lot of money if we keep scrolling. And on the one hand, I sort of want people to be online because I want them to see the things I've made. And on the other hand, I don't want to spend all day on it because I know that I'm not going to write a song that day or get my video finished if I don't get off that stuff. So I would just say, dial it back to email. That's the thing that will sell stuff for you. That's the thing that will create and nurture connection with your audience. If you did nothing but that, you could have a better career than you probably have if you're only using social media anyway. Yeah, so success to me always is being able to continue not having a job I don't like. In terms of the music and the video stuff, I want to keep going with it. I'm working on creating another solo album, and I've got a lot of demos for that. Just because I'm full-time making my own music doesn't mean that changes the music I make, because of the pressure or the perceived pressure I could feel to sell that music to keep doing this as a job. So it's very important to me to just make, as I said earlier, whatever music I want, and then I figure out how to share that later. I think the only thing that changes really is the sort of the frequency of release. So when I was freelancing and was only doing this in the evenings and weekends and odd days, I could only put music out maybe every 2 years, or there'd be some sort of random gap between how long it took me to make the next album and put it out. What I'm aiming for now is about every 18 months to have a new thing out. Because I know how much work it takes to release the thing, I have to factor that in as well. I'd prefer it was every year, new music every year, but I just don't think I can handle it. So unless things changed a little bit. So that's fine. I think every year you're sort of putting a lot of pressure on yourself to, suddenly be very interesting. So the other thing I'm really interested in doing is doing some consulting work for people. I think artists could benefit from learning how to tell their story online and to feel better about it, to feel more in control of what they're doing with their marketing, to learn that marketing's not a dirty word. It's just a way of sharing your stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. I hope that was okay. I felt very nervous all of a sudden when you started pressing record. It's weird, isn't it? Strange.